What up, YouTube? Just Stand Television, man. You know, it's Sunday, day after the Sabbath, and I started reading the book of Tobit yesterday, and I found something that could really help the world. You know, throughout all the Bible, of course, but you know, I want to do a breakdown of Tobit 4, and I got some notes, and yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. I want to talk about Tobit 4, but as a pretense, I'm gonna read throughout Tobit 1 and 2. So you can kind of understand the gist of what I'm about to get into with Tobit 4. So I want to start out by talking about Tobit 4, but my pretense, I'm going to start at Tobit 1. Tobit 1, verse 3. The book of the words of Tobit, son of Tobael, the son of Ananiel, the son of Abdul, the son of Abdul, the son of Gabal, of the seed of Azael, of the tribe of Naphtali. Now, excuse me mispronouncing some of the terminology I'm learning myself, you know. Tobit 1 verse 2. Who in the time of Enemessar, king of the Assyrians, was led captive out of this Bee, which is at the right hand of that city, which is called properly Naphtali and Galeel above Asser. I, Tobit, have walked all the days of my life in the way of truth and justice, and I did many alms deeds to my brethren and my nation, who came with me to Nineveh and to the land of the Assyrians. Now, alms is known as payment. You know, alms is just something, especially money, that's given to the poor. You know, when a person who may be homeless asks you for money or something, you give into them. That is giving alms, giving money, especially money or anything that someone would need in terms of someone who would need it. So, Tobit was a righteous man who walked with God all the days of his life, and he gave many alms to his brothers. Now I'm gonna skip to Tobit 1. Verse 6, and I'm going to read through 9. But I alone went often to Jerusalem at the feast, as it was ordained unto all the people of Israel by an everlasting decree, having the first fruits and tenths of increase with that which was first shorn. And then gave I at the altar to the priests, the children of Aaron, the first tenth part of an all increase. I gave to the sons of Aaron, who ministered at Jerusalem. Another tenth part I sold away, and went and spent in every year at Jerusalem. And the third I gave unto them to whom it was meet. And the third I gave unto them to whom it was meet, as Deborah, my father's mother, had commanded me, because I was left an orphan by my father. Furthermore, when I was come to the age of a man, I married Anna of mine own kindred, and of her I begat Tobias. Tobit married Anna, had a son named Tobias. You know, out of Tobit's entire nation, they were all given unto idols, and ate of the bread of the Gentiles. But Tobit alone would travel to and from Jerusalem, giving alms to those who needed it. Okay? Now I'm going to jump to Tobit 1:14. And I went into Media, and left in trust to Gabal. And I went into Media, and left in trust with Gabal, the brother of Gabrias, at Rages, the city of Media, 10 talents of silver. On Tobit's journey, he went into Media and gave unto Gabriel 10 talents of silver. Remember that. Gabal basically stored an inheritance of money away for a rainy day. Tobit 1:16 through 19. And in the time of Enemessar, I gave many alms to my brethren, and gave my bread to the hungry, and my clothes to the naked. And if I saw any of my nation dead or cast about the walls of Nineveh, I buried him. And if the king Sennacherib has slain any when he was come and fled from Judea, I buried them privily. For in his wrath he killed many, but the bodies were not found when they were sought for of the king. And when one of the Ninevites went and complained of me to the king, that I buried them and hid myself, understanding that I was sought for to be put to death, I withdrew myself for fear. Tobias was traveling, burying dead bodies that were slain in the street in secret. And when he knew that his deeds or what he was doing was going to result in him being put to death, he would hide to save himself. But he was genuinely trying to do God's work, burying the dead. Tobit 1:20. Then all my goods were forcibly taken away, neither was there anything left me beside my wife Anna and my son Tobias. Tobit was robbed of everything. He was trying to live by the Lord, but his punishment for hiding the dead bodies, they knew who was doing it, but they couldn't catch him in the act. You know, he would go into hiding to flee for safety. So in order as being reprimanded and to be punished, he would take out of everything except his wife Anna and his son Tobias. Now I'm going to jump to Tobias 2, and I'm going to read verse 1 through 8. Now when I was come home again, and my wife Anna was restored unto me with my son Tobias in the feast of Pentecost, which is the holy feast of the 7 weeks, there is a good dinner prepared me, in the which I sat down to eat. And when I saw abundance of meat, I said to my son, Go and bring what poor man sower that thou shalt find out of our brethren, who is mindful of the Lord, and lo, I tarry for thee. But he came again and said, Father, one of our nation is strangled, and it cast out in the marketplace. Then, before I had tasted of any meat, I start up and took him up into a room until the going down of the sun. Tobias went and grabbed a man that Tobias said was strangled, slain in the street, and put him up into a room. This is before he even got to eat any food. I'm going to reread that last verse. Tobias 2, verse 4. Then before I had tasted of any meat, I start up and took him up into a room until the going down of the sun. Then I returned and washed myself and ate my meat in heaviness. Tobias had a heavy heart, remembering that prophecy of Amos, as he said, Your feast shall be turned into mourning, and all your mirth into lamentation. Therefore I wept, and after the going down of the sun, I went and made a grave and buried him. After Tobias ate, he had a heavy heart, and he cried, and he wept, and then he buried the man that was slain. But my neighbors mocked me, and said, This man is not yet afraid to be put to death for this matter, who fled away and let loud, he buried the dead again. His neighbors are mocking him for living according to God. See, that's how it is in today's world. When you live according to the word, if you try your best to abide by the Bible, people will mock you, people will scoff you, people will make it seem like you're the bad guy, people make it seem like you think you're better than them. You know, in reality, Tobias is living according to what God would want him to do. You know what I mean? And his neighbors are mocking him because he's the black sheep, he's the odd one out, you know? But they're going to see. I'm going to jump over to Tobias 2, and I'm going to read verse 10 through 14. This is the last of the pretenses to understand who the character Tobias had. And it will make chapter 4 make more sense. So Tobias 2, verse 10 through 14. And I knew, okay, so matter of fact, I'm gonna just continue reading because it's going to make more sense this way. So the neighbors were mocking Tobias, right? The same night also I returned from the burial and slept by the wall of my courtyard. Being polluted, my face was uncovered. And I knew not that there were sparrows in the wall, and mine eyes being opened, the sparrows muted warm dung into my eyes. And a whiteness came in mine eyes, and I went to the physicians, but they helped me not. Moreover, Achiacharis did nourish me until I went into Elimias. Achiacharis was appointed to be a helper of the king of the Assyrians, but Achiacharis was also his brother's son, aka Tobit's nephew, according to my understanding. Tobias, he felt so sorrowful after he buried the dead, after his neighbors were mocking him, that that he slept by the wall, but he didn't know there were sparrows there, and when his eyes were open, they defecated, they shit, and it went into his eyes and it made him blind. So Tobit is now blind, okay? Tobit is blind, and he went to the physicians for help, and they would not help him because Tobias was hated for living by the Lord, for burying the dead after the king of the Assyrians killed the dead. So Tobias is basically a traitor to these people, even though he's living for God. So when he went to help to the physicians to cure his blindness, they wouldn't help him. But his nephew, Achiacharis, did nourish him until he went into Elimias. Now, excuse my French for mispronouncing things. I'm going to learn as I'm learning through the Spirit. I just started reading this book yesterday, and I truly felt the Spirit, so I'm making a video talking about this, okay? And overall, over what I just read, Tobit was a man who lived according to the Lord. He would tithe according in contrast to everybody else in his nation. You know, he was an orphan. He would, I don't want to say tithe, but he gave alms, okay? Which could be the same thing, but I need to do more research so I can make that correlation. But Tobit, he was a righteous man. He gave alms. He was burying the dead after they were unrightfully slain by the king. And he was mocked by his neighbors, and he went blind due to his negligence of sparrows being above him, and he went to get help from physicians in the land. They wouldn't help him, you know. So Tobias is feeling very distraught. Okay, and now as I continue reading, and my wife. So after he went to the physicians for help, and they turned him away, and his nephew Archiacheres nourished him. That's the end of verse 10. Now I'm gonna read 10 through. That's the end of verse 9. No, that's the end of verse 10. And I'm gonna continue reading to verse 14. This is my first time. Well, one of my first times doing a breakdown, so I feel all over the place, but I'm in the spirit, and we finna go. All right. Tobit 2, verse 11. And my wife Anna did take women's works to do, and when she had sent them home to the owners, they paid her wages and gave her also besides a kid. And when it was in mine house and began to cry, I said unto her, From whence is this kid? Is it not stolen? Render it to the owners, for it is not lawful to eat anything that is stolen. Tobit is a man of God. It is not righteous to eat anything that is stolen. If this kid is not ours, and if this kid is stolen, return it to where it came from. But she replied upon me, it was given for a gift more than the wages. She told the truth. Howbeit, I did not believe her, but bade her render it to the owners, and I was abased at her. Tobit was embarrassed that, to his understanding, that his wife would do such a thing. But she replied upon me, Where are thine alms and thy righteous deeds? Behold, thou and all thy works are known. Dang. To my understanding, Tobit is truly disappointed in his wife. You know, he's truly disappointed in his wife. Dang. Dang. As Tobit 3 proceeds, he's basically, all in all, he's professing his love to God, and he's asking God for forgiveness. He's asking God to forgive him of his sins, and that he feels that death is approaching soon if he is to continue feeling like this. So he'd much rather his death to be taken towards him, and to him to live in eternity with God, than for him to live in the sorrow that he's living on earth. So Tobit is basically preparing for his death. Okay. Now, at the same time, and that same exact day, there's a woman named Sarah who was married 7 different times, and all her husbands was given away to death from the demon Asmodeus. And her father's maidens are basically chastising her and making her feel bad as if she's the problem. And she started to feel sorrow from that as well. She prayed to God to take care of her own life so she wouldn't feel the reproach of those who were looking down upon her. But she also said to God that if it is right for her to live this life, then please flee her from the reproaches that she's feeling. She's basically saying, God, I feel so sorry for that. I would much rather be dead. Maybe they are right. Maybe I should die. Because these maidens cursed her. They said, go to where your husband's went and don't come back. They basically said, die, because you may be the problem for your husband's death. So how do we know you won't do that to us? So Sarah, with a heavy heart, she's praying to God out the window, saying that, God, I want you to bless me, and please take my life if it is in your rightfully so. But if it's rightfully so for me to stay alive, allow me to be freed from the reproach that I feel. And then God is hearing Tobit's prayers, and he's also hearing Sarah's prayers. Sarah's in a different land, but they were praying at the same time, and the Most High God heard both of these prayers. In Tobit 3, verse 17, God sent an angel named Raphael to heal them. Verse 17, and Raphael was sent to heal them both, that is, to scale away the whiteness of Tobit's eyes, and to give Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, for a wife to Tobias, the son of Tobit, and to bind Asmodeus, the evil spirit, because she belonged to Tobias by right of inheritance. The same time came Tobit home and entered into his house, and Sarah, the daughter of Raguel, came down from her upper chamber. Ultimately, God sent this angel named Raphael to save Tobit and Sarah, and he heard both of their prayers, and they're both about to be saved. So in order for them to be saved, God allowed Sarah to be the wife of Tobit's son Tobias, and now they're about to coexist together. Now that is enough for the pretense upon this level of this chapter, And now I'm about to read into Tobit 4. All right? So this is heavy. So I got these notes of all of this book, and I got the precepts that I'm about to use to back up what this is saying, so you guys can get a further understanding. All right? Let me check the minute count and make sure I'm still recording. Okay, I'm 15 minutes in. That's cool. That's cool. God, all praises, all praises. Whoever is still watching this video, God bless you. Now, let's go. It's kind of warm out here, man. It was raining. It was raining. It was raining. All praises. God had to get the plant something to drink on, All praises. Tobit, chapter 4. In that day, Tobit remembered the money which he had committed to Gabael and raided Media. All right. So if we go back to Tobit 1, verse 14, it was said that, Tobit said, and I went into Media and left in trust with Gabael, the brother of Gabrias, a rages of. In verse 114, Tobit said, and I went into Medea, and I left in trust with Gabael, the brother of Gabrias, at raided the city of Media, 10 talents of silver. So in Tobit 4:1, when he says, in that day remembered the money when he had committed to Gabael and raided the Media, God is saying this of Tobit. Tobit's starting to remember, oh wait, so my son Tobias is about to marry the daughter of the Lord named Sarah. Sarah was a righteous woman. She never disobeyed God in her life as well. Okay? And he's saying, okay, my son's about to get married. I got some money I stored away for this perfect rainy day. I'm not going to use it for me. I'm going to give it to my son. And then Tobit is starting to understand that he prayed to God for his death to release him of the reproach that he feels. So he knows that since he's a spiritual man, God might really give him what he prayed for. So Tobit starts to prepare for his death. And he's about to give his son the commandments under God for him to live by, so he can be a great man of God for his household, so he can rule Sarah properly, right? So in Tobit 1, in that day Tobit remembered the money which he had committed to Gabael and raided Media, and said with himself, I have wished for death. Wherefore do I not call for my son Tobias, that I may signify to him of the money before I die? And that is in the precept of that is Tobit 3, verse 1-6, when he mentioned, then I being grieved did weep, and in the sorrow prayed, saying, O Lord, thou art just in all my work, and all thy works, and all thy ways are mercy and truth, and thou judgest truly and justly forever. Tobit is saying, God, you know my works and your precious and holy word. Remember me and look on me. Punish me not for my sins and ignorances and the sins of my fathers who have sinned before thee. For they obeyed not thy commandments. Wherefore thou hast delivered us for a spoil, and unto captivity, and unto death, and for a proverb of reproach to all the nations among whom we are dispersed. And now thy judgments are many and true. Deal with me according to my sins and my father, because we have not kept thy commandments, neither have walked in truth before thee. Now therefore deal with me as I seemeth best unto thee, and command my spirit to be taken from me, that I may be dissolved and become earth. For it is profitable for me to die rather than to live, because I have heard false reproaches and have much sorrow. Command therefore that I may now be delivered out of this distress, and go into the everlasting place. Turn not thy face from me. Tobit is saying, God, please do not turn away from me. I have lived a good life. I have lived a good life under your word, but I feel so much reproaches that were false. Please take my life if it is in your precious and holy word. Do not turn your face away from me. Right? So as we continue with Tobit 4, verse 3, and when he had called him, he said, talking to Tobias, his son, my son, when I am dead, bury me, and despise not thy mother. Honor her all the days of thy life, and do that which shall please her, and grieve her not. Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for you, when thou wast in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. Tobit is saying to his son Tobias, even though that I feel that your mother had betrayed me, that she went against the covenant before God, do not hate her. When I am dead, bury me with her. Honor her all the days of your life. You shall honor your mother and your father. Okay? Wow. And that takes a lot of humility, because most of the times, us men, if we feel betrayed by a woman, we would have that type of pride against him. But Tobias, he's a man of God. Tobit is a man. Tobit is a man of God. He's not going for that. Even though I feel that my wife had desecrated our covenant, son Tobias, I want you to still honor her all days of your life, because that is your mother. I will be dead. She will be your mother. She is your mother, and she will deserve the respect no matter what she had done to me. Wow. Wow. I'm going to reread Tobit 4, verse 4. Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for you when thou wast in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. My son, be mindful of the Lord our God all thy days, and let not thy will be set to sin, or to transgress his commandments. Do uprightly all thy life long, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness. So now Tobit is about to get into all the commandments that he wants his son to follow, that is under God, so he can live a righteous life as his father Tobit did. So Tobit talking to Tobias. For thou deal truly, thy doing shall prosperously succeed to you, and to all them that live justly. If you live right, you will be blessed. Okay? Give thy alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thine eye be envious, neither turn thy face from any poor, and the face of God shall not be turned away from you. Wow. If thou hast abundance, give alms accordingly. If thou have but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little. For thou layest up a good treasure for thyself against a day of necessity, like Tobias did for Tobit when he gave his money in the wages. Like when Tobit put money away to Gabael in wages of Media. That is what Tobit is also saying in verse 9, chapter 4. For thou layest up a good treasure for thyself against the day of necessity. Instead of Tobit leaving it for himself, he's giving it to his son. Because that alms doth deliver from death, and suffereth not to come into darkness. For alms is a good gift unto all that give it, in the sight of the Most High. Tobit is saying to his son, even when you die, the blessings that you do when you're alive will count in the afterlife when you make it to the kingdom of heaven if you follow directions. Okay? For alms is a good gift unto all that give it, in the sight of the Most High. All right? Tobit, chapter 4, verse 12. Beware of all whoredom, my son, and chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy fathers, and take not a strange woman to wife, which is not of thy father's tribe. For we are the children of the prophets. No, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Remember, my son, that our fathers from the beginning, even that they all married wives of their own kindred, and were blessing their children, and their seed shall inherit the land. Tobit is saying to his son, the wife you choose should be the same nation of your father. You are an Israelite, so your wife must also be an Israelite. Don't do as the Gentiles do, okay? And when I go back to Numbers 36, chapter 6 through 9, let's go to it. This is a pretense, okay? Number 36, 6 through 9, in terms of, us marrying within our tribe, okay? This is Moses speaking, to my knowledge. This is the thing which the Lord do command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best, only to the family of the tribe of their fathers shall they marry. So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers. If you continue to marry outside your tribe will vanish eventually. And every daughter that possesseth an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children of Israel may enjoy every man the inheritance of his fathers. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance. Marry your people. If you're an Israelite, marry an Israelite. Plain and simple, okay? Plain and simple. Tobit, chapter 4, verse 13. Now, therefore, my son, love thy brethren, and despise not in thy heart thy brethren, the sons and daughters of thy people, and not taking a wife of them. For in pride is destruction, and much trouble, and in lewdness is decay and great want, for lewdness is the mother of famine. Tobit is telling his son Tobias, if you do see an Israelite married outside of his race, do not look down upon him. Love your brother as you would love yourself. Okay? And if we go back to the pretense of Matthew 22:36-9, God is stating the top 2 commandments in the history of the world. Jesus said unto him, this is verse 37, Matthew 22, verse 37. Jesus said unto him, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. That's the number 1 commandment. The number 2 commandment. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. You should not judge. You should judge righteously, but do not look down on others with contempt. Okay? So Tobit is telling his son, if you do see a fellow Israelite, your brother, married to someone outside of his race, do not hate him, for pride is akin to destruction. Okay? And in lewdness is decay. Lewdness is offensive / crude acts in the sexual way. And in lewdness is decay, death to the spirit, and great want, for lewdness is the mother of famine. Okay? Let's move on. Tobit 4:14. Let not the wages of any man which have wrought for thee tarry with thee, but give him it out of hand. For if thou serve God, he will also repay thee. Be circumspect, my son, in all things thou do, and be wise in all thy conversation. All your conversations should be unto the Lord, okay? Oh, shoot, there go a bee, boy. I'm protected by God, though, but I'm going to watch out. He kind of close. He try to get this knowledge. Go ahead and get this knowledge, my boy. All your conversations... Hey, boy. He kind of tweaking a little bit. All your conversations should be unto the Lord. All right, he tweaking. I ain't gonna lie, he tweaking. Maybe because I got his black shirt on, but I got my fringes, I can't take them off. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I don't think he want no smoke. I don't think he want no smoke with me, man. I'm a whole human. I'm under God. God created that beat. He created me too. Boy, he real close though. Hey, in the spirit of the Lord. Look, bro. You feel me? Like, now I think about it, that might be, oh yeah, he tweaking, he running the walls. Yeah, he ain't got no mind. He is out of order. I'm gonna continue reading though. He right there too. If I get stung, it's gonna be on camera, whatever, man. Alright, let's continue. A little comedy. Tobit, chapter 4, verse 15. Do that to no man which thou hatest. Drink not wine to make thee drunken, neither let drunkenness go with thee in thy journey. Give of thy bread to the hungry, and of thy garments to them that are naked, and according to thine abundance give alms, and let not thine eye be envious when thou givest alms. So in chapter 4, verse 16, Tobit is talking about give clothes to those who are naked. You see me, how I have my fringes on. So I'm in the spirit. And that is a correlation to Numbers 15, 30, verse 38. And let me go to that. Numbers chapter 15, verse 38. Speak unto the Lord, verse 37. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, verse 38, speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. It shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye be look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, and after which ye use to go a whoring. That ye may remember and do all my commandments, and be holy unto your God. I am the Lord your God, which brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. God is talking to his people. We are commanded to wear fringes. So when Tobit is telling his son Tobias, give thy bread to the hungry, and of thy garments to them that are naked. These are the garments. Give fringes to those who need it. Give clothes on the backs to those who need it. Okay? Do not withhold your hand if you have the ability to help, but you must do it righteously and accordingly. Okay? Let's continue. Tobit 4, verse 17. pour out thy bread on the burial of the just, but give nothing to the wicked. Ask counsel of all that are wise, and despise not any counsel that is profitable. If we go to Proverbs chapter 1, verse 7, it says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chain about thy neck. So, in chapter 18, when in verse 18, when Tobit is saying, ask counsel of all that are wise, we should not hate wisdom. You know, we should be at the doorstep of a wise man's house. You know, if you are blessed to receive the wisdom of knowledge, do not hate it. Take heed to it. Verse 18, ask counsel of all that are wise, but despise not any counsel that is profitable. Bless the Lord thy God always, and desire of him that thy wages may be directed, and that all thy paths and counsels may prosper. For every nation hath not counsel, but the Lord himself giveth all good things, and he humbleth whom he will, as he will. Now therefore, my son, remember my commandments, neither let them be put out of thy mind. Okay? In this verse, verse 19, for every nation hath not counsel, but the Lord himself giveth all good things. If we go to, now basically God is saying not every nation has the commandments I'm giving you. These commandments are especially for the tribe of Israel, for the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, if I go to Exodus 20 verse 1, it says this, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. God is naming the commandments that he's saying to the kids of Israel. Okay? For I am the Lord thy God, which have brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. These are the Israelites. If I go to Deuteronomy 4, verse 27. If I go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. Oh, wow, I must not have wrote it down. It's all good. I'm right here anyway. If I go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. If I go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 27. It says, and the Lord shall scatter you among the nations, and ye shall be left few in number among the heathen, whither the Lord shall lead you. We, the Israelites, were scattered among the nation. We are the people that are scattered among the nation. If I go to Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 1, it says, when thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for the Lord thy God is with you, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. When God talks about bringing those out of the land of Egypt, he's talking about the Israelites. I'm going to reread it. When thou goes out to battle against thine enemies, and sees horses and chariots, and a people more than you, be not afraid of them, for the Lord thy God is with you, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. If I go to Deuteronomy 28, and I read verse 9 through 10, it says, the Lord shall establish you an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto you, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of you. And the Lord shall make you plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers to give you. God is talking to the Israelites. If we obey the commandments, we as well will be blessed. So when God says, for every nation have not counsel, but the Lord himself giveth all good things, he's talking about the blessings that we will receive if we listen to him. Those who were scattered across the nation, those who God brought out of bondage, out of the land of Egypt. Egypt is also called the house of slavery, house of bondage. Those who God brought out of the house of Egypt are the Israelites. So in verse 19, when God says, bless the Lord, when Tobit is telling his son Tobias, bless the Lord thy God always, and desire of him that thy ways may be directed, and that all thy paths and counsels may prosper. For every nation have not counsel. Not every nation has his counsel, but the Israelites. But the Lord himself giveth all good things, and he humbleth whom he will, as he will. Now therefore, my son, remember my commandments, neither let them be put out of thy mind. And now I signify this to you, that I commit 10 talents to Gabael, the son of Gabrias, at wages in Media. Now Tobit telling the son, I left you an inheritance in the at the wages of Media. And fear not, my son, that we are made poor, for thou hast much wealth, if thou fear God, and depart from all sin, and do what which is pleasing in his sight. I'm going to say it one more time. And this is the final verse, verse 21, chapter 4. And fear not, my son, that we are made poor, for thou hast much wealth, if thou fear God, and depart from all sin, and do that which is pleasing in his sight. If I fast forward to Revelations 2:9, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. I know thy works and tribulation and poverty, but you are rich. In verse 21, Tobit told his son, and fear not, my son, that we are made poor, for thou hast much wealth. You can't make this up. If thou fear God, and depart from all sin, and do that which is pleasing in his sight. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee the crown of life. If thou fear God, and depart from all sin, and do that which is pleasing in his sight. Fear God, depart from all sin. Have tribulation 10 days. Be faithful unto death. It's saying the same exact thing. This is my breakdown of Tobit chapter 4, and thank you for watching this video. God bless all who comes across this video, and I have fun breaking this down with you guys. I can't wait to upload this video. Even if only one person watching this video is God willing, I'm blessed, and I pray the same for you as well. Okay, the children of Israel, nation of Israel, shalom. All praises.